Hello and welcome to another episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate. Halloween edition. If that wasn't obvious, I wasn't just like clearing my throat there.
It's not the normal way we do things.
Yeah, if this is your first time.
That would be ridiculous.
That would be pretty bad. Yeah, and this is an absurd show, not a ridiculous show.
We don't stand for that here.
Yeah, that's not our thing. That's not our thing.
No. Look at the title. You see ridiculous in there? I think not. Kyle, give me a lightning strike. Thank you.
Wow, there's going to be a lot of lightning strikes here. If we had a lightning strike button, I would use it. If this is the first time you've listened to our show, we answer questions that you, the audience, send in to us via our website, via the phone, via what, I don't know. Maybe somebody's mailed us. Has anybody ever mailed us a postcard? You can mail us a postcard if you want. I'll put the address in the show notes if you want to mail me a postcard. I'll read it on the show. But we answer science-y questions or questions that you send us that are ridiculous, and we use science to answer them as best as we can. If you would like to support the show, you like the show, join our Patreon. You can do that below the show notes, or in the show notes, rather.
We're selling them on it already. We haven't even really started.
I was told by a strategist to put your Patreon at the front, not at the back.
Oh, okay.
Because the number of people listening at the front is more.
Is higher. That makes sense. But if they make it all the way through, then they probably like it and would want to support it.
Right. So we say it at the front, and then we say it at the back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, now you know, audience, how we're strategizing.
Oh, I thought we would just cut that bit out anyway.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Sure. Anyway, if you like the show and lightning. If you like the show and you want to support the show, you can join our Patreon. You can find it down in the show notes. And we love our patrons because they get to help us vote on questions that we choose here on the show.
And they're playing bingo, and I think they can already tick aggressive cackling off. I see their bingo cards here. Oh. That's usually ticked off on most of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Yeah, not a surprise. So, again, if this is your first time, I'm Trace. That's Julian. We are science communicators. We know sciencey things, or at least we're good at Googling. So, Julian, what question are you going to answer on this episode, this Halloween episode? Kyle, lightning, please. Halloween episode.
We're going to wear out the lightning button.
Maybe we did a couple of lightning buttons, like some variation in lightning.
Yeah.
Ooh, that one's good. That's good. I liked that one. That was a good one. I'm pretending that I can hear it, but it's later, because we do it.
It's all going to be in post. Yeah. The sound comes later, much like with lightning.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, that was funny. That was good. That was good. I liked that.
Good pun. Anyway, my question comes from Kelly, who sent us a voicemail.
Hi, my name is Kelly. I am currently living in Sour Lake, Texas. My question is, if a vampire bit a very drunk person, like 0.4 BAC, would the vampire then get drunk from the person's contaminated blood? And if they did, would this also work for other substances like caffeine or THC? I got the idea for this question because my house is incredibly hot in the Texas heat, and I was telling one of my friends that I may just revert into vampire mode and only move around at night so that I don't die from heat exhaustion. He asked if I could turn him into a vampire, to which I replied he would have to marinate himself in a vat of lime juice and spices first beforehand, but I would consider it. And then he offered to get super drunk beforehand so that I would get a little more bang for my buck off of this bite. So I guess it just made me wonder, would that actually work? Anyway, thanks guys. Love your show. Have a great day. Bye.
Wow, Kelly. Wow. Amazing.
The spices and lime juice.
I'm so glad we have
hard left turn.
We really need to unpack this. Do you have tahini? If you're going to pack up and marinate a person, you definitely need an acid. That's important. Some spices, great. I love that. Like a little spicy, I feel like you need a little spice in there, because humans, just a little.
If it's tahini and lime juice and he's really drunk, it's just basically a michelada, right?
Right. We're making a human michelada. Is his name
Michael? It's a michelada?
A michelada. Perfect. You picked up what I was putting down.
Yeah, I got
delicious. Sounds. I mean, honestly, if I were a vampire, this seems like what we do in the shadows.
I have so many.
You'd get it and just rub tahini onto someone's neck and just be like, it's Cinco de Mayo.
We're having party. Okay, Kelly, fantastic. First of all, very clear that Kelly did some research, and I'll get to why in a second. But yes, let's talk about drunkenness and alcohol and how it affects people, right?
Lightning, Kyle.
Okay, Kyle's like our Igor, but if the Igor was more handsome than the
I would do the lightning for you.
Okay, so an adult person typically has about 4.5 to 5.5 liters of blood in them. And of course, there are variables that affect that. Body size, sex, all that sort of stuff, right?
Sure.
If you're bigger, you'll have more blood. If you're smaller, you'll have less. If you are a woman, even for the same height and weight as a man, of equivalent height and weight, you'll have less blood. So yeah, there are variables, but I think about 5 liters is a good kind of middle estimate for this drunken person that Kelly is going to be.
Cool.
Not assaulting, because they're a willing participant, I guess. They're going to be feasting upon.
I mean, if we learned anything from the cannibalism episode, I guess you can volunteer. That doesn't make it legal, but it doesn't make it illegal either.
I think vampirism is probably illegal anyway. I bet, especially in Europe. I bet there's some law on the books from like 1802.
Be like, you cannot vampire.
Nope.
Vampires,
not allowed.
No vampire allowed.
Some ancient king declared that and was like, well, that's vampirism settled. Glad we won't have to worry about that anymore. Anyway, so in California, where I live, if you're over 21 and more than 0.08% of your blood volume is alcohol, or 8 drops per 10,000 drops, you are over the legal limit, right? You can't operate a motor vehicle, let's say. And if you're under 21, there's no tolerance policy. Anyway, at this blood alcohol level, people typically have mild impairment of their balance, their speech, their vision, their bodily control. At twice that, 0.16% blood alcohol content, then you're sloppy drunk, right? You're I love you, man. Oh my gosh, we should start a podcast.
Is that how this happened? This is how
I think
we got where we are today.
We were drunk when it started.
As we used to say in college, when you're getting to a point that it's like that kind of a BAC, because if you think that you're talking normally, you're slurring.
Yeah.
But once you start to hear yourself slur, you are unintelligible.
Oh, you're so far
That's
gone.
gone.
Yeah.
If you are drunk and you're still like, I'm sorry, I know you're not understanding me, you are unintelligible. It's not happening.
Right. So at this point also, more often than not, you're more dysphoric than euphoric, right? You're sadder and probably getting nauseous. And then at 0.25%, you're having trouble walking, you're vomiting, somebody's got to call you a cab and get you home. But Kelly specified 0.4%.
That's a lot.
Which is why I know Kelly looked into this, because that is the LD50 for alcohol. LD50 in chemistry is the lethal dose for 50% of people who have that much exposure.
Wow.
So 0.4% is the point where half of the people who are that drunk are gonna die.
That's a lot.
You are most likely going to slip into a coma, and then you're going to stop breathing and die. So if Kelly's a vampire and their friend is this drunk, honestly, feasting off of them might
save
be
their life.
Best case scenario.
I mean, not save their life, I guess, because you're undead, right?
Save their unlife?
Yeah. If we're going to use the TikTok parlance, you're not unaliving them because they've already gotten to a point. You're really unaliving them because they're undead. So you're just re-deading them. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know how the dead math works.
It's a negative of a negative, but you're still dead. So I'm not.
If alive is 1 and dead is 0, then I guess undead is like -1. Like it has the same magnitude as being alive, but it's I don't know. Anyway, so
Lightning,
yes.
Kyle.
Lightning. Quick, Kyle, I need a lightning distraction.
Add a lightning strike so we know to move on.
Okay. Yes, if they are that drunk and Kelly feasts upon him, then Kelly might be doing him a favor. But how drunk would Vampire Kelly become? All right. So let's say at this level of alcohol, right, 0.4%, and her friend has that 5 liters of blood. That is about 0.02 liters, 20 milliliters of alcohol in all of your friend's blood. So if you drank all that blood, you would have consumed about 20 milliliters of alcohol.
Oh, that's not very much.
No, for Americans like Kelly, that's 4 teaspoons or 1 1/3 tablespoon. Because there's 3 teaspoons to a tablespoon for some reason, and people fight for this measurement system, thinking that like, oh, it'll keep me closer to my grandma's recipes, which doesn't even make sense because it's the same amount of sugar and the cookies taste the same afterwards anyway if you use tablespoons or milliliters. Anyway, that's
Lightning
a free
Kyle.
one. That's a free one for the bingo card havers. We'll also call that a grape time while we're at it.
This is about 3/5 as big as a marshmallow.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. I went to the website first to check, and all of these milliliter calculations are compared to marshmallows first.
Yeah, it's like 2 gumballs. It's like
Wow, this
like
is-
3/10 as big as a packed golf ball. Don't know what that means, but
I don't either, right?
yeah, what's a packed golf ball? About 1/25 as big as a blood donation. What a convenient comparison.
Wow.
Thank you, measure of
Except
things.
it was a 100% blood donation.
Well, in
like
this case,
all
yeah.
their blood. It's actually several times what a normal safe blood donation would be. Anyway, how does this amount of alcohol compare to like any other sort of alcoholic drink? To put things in perspective, right?
Yeah.
Well, with a beer, a typical beer might have around 5% alcohol by volume. And if it's a 12-ounce can or a 340 milliliter can, that's about 17 milliliters of alcohol.
Oh, hey.
So drinking your friend completely dry would
The
give
4
you
to 5 liters of fluid.
4 to 5 liters. That would give you about as much alcohol as a beer and a little more.
Like a stronger beer.
Yeah, or like a tall
like-
can, like a 16-ounce can.
Well, I was thinking like, the average beer is 4%. Maybe it's like a 6% beer. It's like a craft beer.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Like a craft human. They had a beard. They're really maybe they had a utilikilt on. Like it's a craft
right.
human. If they were at Oktoberfest,
Now-
then they are at
Now I'm
Oktoberfest.
picturing hipster vampires.
Honestly, there's hipsters everywhere. Of course, there are
Oh
hipster
my
vampires.
Oh, that would be so excellent, right? But drinking like craft
Human. They have to.
barrel aged.
Be like, oh, have you had one of these humans? No, you haven't heard of them.
Oh yeah, I'm drinking people from cultures you haven't even heard of.
You haven't heard of them yet. But when you hear about them, it won't be cool anymore.
It won't be cool anymore. I think the hipster references are so old they're not even cool anymore.
It's true.
Yeah. Do hipsters exist anymore?
I think maybe now they're just like the Valley accent. They're just part of the zeitgeist, right? Like that. I love talking about it and thinking about it is like the Valley girl accent in the 90s was like, oh my God, like what is happening? And that's just how everybody talks now. Right. Like it was this weird thing and they were like, oh, clueless. It's weird. But now everybody kind of adopted not necessarily the lilt, but the way of speaking. Maybe hipsters are the same.
I feel like even if there's not a defined movement of hipsters necessarily anymore, there's still those people that are like, oh, you haven't heard of it. It's an obscure band that only I and like the coolest people know about.
That's just music people.
That's
music jerks, not actual music people. Actual music people are like, oh, you heard of that band? It's amazing, right? But like music jerks are like, oh, you heard of that band? That makes me like it less. Anyway, enough about hipsters.
Kyle, hit them with lightning. Okay, so let's say a typical person were to drink that amount of alcohol, but in like a beer, not in 5 liters of blood, right?
Sure.
Quickly. So like a 68 kilo or 150 pound man, if they were to drink that amount of beer and their body didn't have much time to metabolize it, they would have a blood alcohol content of about 0.015%. That's very low. That's not really noticeable effects. Maybe you're feeling like a little happier. Yeah. That's about it. I don't even know if you're in buzz territory yet. It's that low. So, Kelly, unless you were like, particularly small, or your friend was particularly large and had this much of blood alcohol content, would drinking his blood make you drunk? No. Now,
bad.
This is, of course, making the assumption that vampire physiology is the same as human physiology.
Right, because they are re-dead.
Right. Twice dead. Anyway, extra dead. Past dead. I think. Yeah.
It comes around. It's a circle, right? You keep going, you come back.
Yeah, okay. So, I don't think we can safely assume that vampire physiology is the same as humans because they need to drink blood in order to survive. And they're, like immortal. And they can't go out in sunlight or they catch fire. Or I don't know. There's a bunch of different rules, right? The rules are all different because they're fictional.
Right.
But as always, I tried to look to actual existing things in nature to see if, maybe some vampiric mammals can't drink alcohol or something like that, right? Now, the way we metabolize alcohol is when we drink it, we absorb it through our small intestines into our bloodstream. Alcohol is a pretty small molecule, right? The one that gets you drunk is ethanol. Alcohol is a big category, and it depends on the functional, alcohol group that's attached to it. So, methanol is also an alcohol.
Don't drink that one.
But it'll kill you, so don't drink that one.
Don't drink that one.
And methanol is based on 1 carbon. Ethanol is based on 2 carbons. So it's still a pretty small molecule, and it's enough to, get between the little openings in your blood-brain barrier to your brain. And in your brain, it can mess with the neurotransmitters that are sending signals. In particular, it can elevate the effect of GABA, which is kind of like been described as like your brain's brake, and slow down the gas or glutamate inside your brain. And that's why your processing slows down, right? And if you drink a lot, you can even get tired and lethargic because of what it's doing inside your brain. Now, while it's coursing around in your bloodstream, your liver's trying to process it, and it does this basically in 2 steps. There's an enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase, and it breaks alcohol down into acetaldehyde. And then there's another enzyme that breaks that down into acetic acid, which is basically vinegar, because acetaldehyde is quite toxic and can be very damaging to your cells. As a matter of fact, when you drink and your liver is processing it, the process that breaks down alcohol leaves your cells more exposed to the effects of acetaldehyde, and that's why drinking a lot can damage your liver over time and eventually lead to cirrhosis, which is fatal unless you have a vampire friend so long as you slather yourself in tahine and lime.
Some tahine, some lime,
to save you.
Maybe a little tomato.
Yes. So our ancestors developed this ability to metabolize alcohol probably because we were eating fruit. You know?
Is this the drunk monkey hypothesis?
Yes, basically.
The drunk monkey hypothesis, one of the best names in science.
It
Great
is a good
band name also.
Do you want...
It is. It's a naturally great band name. Would you go see the drunk monkey hypothesis?
I would absolutely see.
It would be so fun.
I actually heard about the drunk monkey hypothesis before you did, and they're super good live.
Oh, man.
What is the drunk monkey hypothesis, Trace, since you know it?
It's the idea that ancient primates, before we had the current, chimps and other monkeys and primates we have now, they were eating fruit. That fruit had fermented, and that is how you make alcohol, is things that have sugar in them ferment with the yeast that is found in the air, and so the yeast gets into the fermentation process, eating the sugars and pooping out the alcohol out of little microbes. And so essentially they were like, oh, well, these monkeys were eating this fermented fruit and getting drunk. And they think that also helped evolution in some ways, which I think is very funny. If you really want to dig into it, go look it up. It's really fun.
Exactly. If you can break down alcohol that's being produced by the things that are feasting on this rotten fruit and fermenting it, you have a food source all of a sudden available to you that other animals don't have access to, and so there is some advantage to that, right? And sure, like you'll get drunk while your body's breaking it down, working through that alcohol, but you can still eat it and be okay and not get super, super sloppy drunk or worse.
And it doesn't kill you.
Fully poisoned, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, animals that eat fruit, like fruit bats, obviously have a reason to have alcohol dehydrogenase or ALDH proteins genetically coded for, but some bats have evolved to the point where they are no longer eating fruit or insects, and instead they're just eating blood, right?
Yeah.
There are 3 species of bats that are only sanguivores, only eating blood, and I actually found a study that looks into the alcohol dehydrogenase production in tons of different mammals and the genetics of them, called Genetic Evidence of Widespread Variation in Ethanol Metabolism Among Mammals, Revisiting the Myth of Natural Intoxication.
That was good.
Yeah, there it is.
Nice job,
Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, he picked up on it. Okay, perfect. Anyway, and so they looked into the genetics of all these different mammals to see whether or not they still coded for ADH, and they found that vampire bats still produce it.
Oh.
So even though they are not eating fruit anymore, they still have the genes that make them capable of breaking down alcohol. Will they keep these genes, thousands of years from now? Who knows? They could eventually be mutated because they're not really being used, and it wouldn't change the animal's fitness for how they currently live, and it would probably be fine. But there are plenty of other animals, surprisingly, that don't have this ability to break down alcohol in their liver. They include a lot of herbivores, surprisingly.
Oh.
So even though they're not eating fruit,
they're eating like celluloses and stuff like that, so they don't necessarily, and they don't ferment as easily because they're not as fleshy, soft ovum stuff that we get in fruits. So like horses don't have the ability to break down alcohol, and neither do dogs. Man, tell that to BoJack Horseman.
Well, that's why it was affecting him so much. He just has like one little drink and he's like off the rails.
Yeah, the hooves, man.
Poor guy. So, would you as a vampire still be able to break down alcohol?
Maybe.
Possibly. Who knows? Maybe the other things that made you need to feast on blood are unrelated. I like to imagine maybe vampirism is spread by a virus that like deactivates certain genes or mutates certain genes.
Cool.
And that's why, you have to...
Yeah, and genes associated with aging and metabolization of food. Mm-hmm. That's cool. Which we'll get into in a future episode, by the way. I have a whole episode coming up about metabolizing food. It's really neat.
Cool. Yeah, a study in 2022 on vampire bats found that they actually had a lot of genes switched off that gave them some adaptations. For example, there was one that turned off their ability to absorb iron from blood into their own bloodstream. And you might think this would be negative because the iron is absorbed by the intestinal lining and damages those cells.
Yeah.
But vampire bats just shed that and replace that. And so the iron doesn't get into their bloodstream where at high enough levels it can be toxic. Whoa. And that's how they adapt to having like a stomach full of iron.
Cool.
Actually losing that gene, which is pretty cool.
That is cool.
How Kelly the vampire might mutate, who knows? Who's to say? I also think since Kelly asked about other drugs this way, would it work? Again, it's a second order that you're, processing these drugs through. So much like how with alcohol, the concentration is much less, the bioavailability is much less, you're probably going to have the same issue as you go through another person to get your fix. So Kelly and Kelly's friend, mostly Kelly's friend, I guess, drinking to the point of being comatose might get Kelly a little buzzed if she is a vampire. But yeah, I definitely think you probably don't want to drink that much in the first place. It'll be expensive. And, if Kelly doesn't, I guess, turn you in time, will you die? I don't know. She'd have to suck you completely dry, too, which to even get a little bit of a hint of something. And with the way vampires work, does that just kill you completely? It's never clear to me. Is it like a little bite turns you and like a full-on sucking kills you? I don't know. The rules are weird.
Yeah, and then some of them you have to do the biting and the being bit. So it's like a little, kind of back and forthy.
Yeah. You gotta have
Yeah.
a mutual exchange.
I don't know. We're going to have to learn more about that in a future episode that may or may not be Halloween themed, regardless.
Just bring Kelly a michelada at midnight and then hang out. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get more alcohol from like a michelada, a delicious michelada and a tall boy.
And then smear the tahini on yourself.
And get yourself a michelada.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your question, Kelly. We'll come back with another spooky question.
Welcome back to the show. Trace, what's your question this week?
My question comes from Macks, who asks, what is the most dangerous animal to become sentient? Yeah. So here's their elaboration. Picture this. A cruel genie snaps his fingers, and overnight, a random species of animal becomes exactly as sentient and as intelligent as humans. And that animal has decided that humans gotta go down. What is the worst case scenario? Cockroaches launching all the nukes in the world overnight, raccoons dismantling the electrical grid. Obviously, it'd be squirrels, Max.
No, it's squirrels.
Squirrels for sure. Which animals would be the greatest threat to mankind and why? I thought of this question after my dog got into the garbage while I was at work, and how much worse it could have been if he was as smart as me. There's a lot to unpack there at the end. If the dog was as smart as you, would it have gotten into the garbage?
I don't know.
Would it also be at work? I don't know.
What was in your garbage? Like knives? Like
yeah, knives. What's in here? Knives? Dude.
Now that he has the garbage knife technology that I thought I hid from him in the bin, I'm in real trouble.
Max, just a humble knife engineer with a garbage pail full of cutlery.
Failed knives, yeah. Knife prototypes.
Double-handled knife? No.
No.
Double blades? No. Okay, so I loved this question because it is absolutely ridiculous. But basically, okay, so just to recap, what Max is essentially saying is that suddenly, you know, a button, in this case, they name a genie, is suddenly something is as intelligent and sentient as we are. And so the first thing that I thought of was bacteria. A bacteria or a mold or a virus. The thing is, though, they said, what would be the most dangerous animal? Bacteria is as a prokaryote. So
yeah,
it's not,
an
and mold
animal.
is a fungi.
Nice try.
And viruses aren't even technically alive, so I couldn't pick any of those. But man,
viruses are vampires. They're
right. They're re-deaded.
They're re-dead.
They're re-dead.
-1 alive.
-1. Their stat for alive is -1. That makes we've solved it. That makes it so much easier. So an animal does make things more fun, but it also makes things there's so many choices. Do you have any ideas off the top of your head?
I mean, you know, when he says sentient, that just means like it can perceive and feel things, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think what he means is like a consciousness, like it knows what it's doing. It can think about itself. It has a theory of mind.
Okay. All right.
That's what I took away from it as like a shorthand for essentially conscious.
Honey badgers.
All right.
Kyle, lightning.
Okay.
No, I mean, okay. There's also like, I mean, I went to the zoo the other weekend, thanks to our friends who gave us a hookup at the zoo, who will be on in a future episode.
Yes.
And hippos are terrifying. I just want to throw
really
that
are.
out there. Like,
wow.
Already.
I'm not going to give him a bingo space. I'm not going to give it to him.
Your
brain sure is great.
Thanks, bud. I love your brain,
I enjoy
too.
it very much. Because
my first thought was like, most dangerous animal. I'm like, the ones that are already super dangerous to me.
I think that's like actually a really good way to go about it.
Ones that maybe if you didn't suspect it, like if they could launch a sneak attack, right? Like your dog, right?
Ooh,
or your cat.
We'll come back to dog. I do have dog on my list.
They could, like, sabotage your car. Like, it wouldn't have to be a direct attack, right? Like, if your dog cut the brake lines in your car, that would be really effective.
So I think that's a really good point. Okay. In my mind, just because a magical being or like a button, we use a magic button on the show a lot, all of a sudden something is conscious or sentient and intelligent as we are, does that mean it all of a sudden can communicate like we do? Right? So I thought about it this way. We need a species that can communicate with other members of its species. It needs to live close enough to humans that it can act against us. And then it would also have to be able to scale that attack in order to really, like, quote unquote, take us down, as Macks said. So I found this study in the Philosophical Transactions B from 2007. And they said about a specific animal, which I'm going to leave as a mystery for a moment. If the large brains and great intelligence characteristic of primates were favored by selection pressures associated with life in complex societies, then they should have evolved convergently in non-primate animals with respect to size, structure, and patterns of competition and cooperation. Basically, what they're saying here is there is a species that isn't a primate, that is nearly as smart as a primate, nearly as social, but could really kill us. This animal weighs up to 86 kilos. That's 190 pounds. That's more than a large beer keg. Already looked it up, Julian. Don't worry about it.
Thanks.
The species has 5 times the bite force of a large dog, 40% more than a leopard. They could bite and crush a bowling ball with their teeth. Straight up wildlife refuge, like, employee said that they gave a bowling ball to this animal and later found it crushed into 4 pieces because it was playing with it. This animal uses multiple sensory modalities to recognize other individuals in its social group, both family and non-family, recognizing third-party family members and rank relationships among their different clan mates. They can use that knowledge adaptively during social decision-making and hunting, and they are social like primates, but they lack the frontal cortex to mediate their social behavior. But if we snap our fingers and give them the frontal cortex, then suddenly they are all of the things I mentioned, but also human-level intelligence. This is the spotted hyena.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Now imagine, it's especially dangerous now. Like, now.
Yeah.
This is a Halloween episode. Lightning, please. February 2025, case report, open access emergency medicine journal. In December of 24, while herding camels in the rural area of Kardo, Somalia, a 22-year-old man was attacked by hyenas. He has lacerations to the scalp and upper body, hip and jawbone fractures, muscle damage to his thigh. He required amputation of all of his genitalia, all of his fingers and thumbs on both hands. He was found unconscious due to blood loss and fluid loss, plus they think the amount of pain and injury he had suffered. This was a human being attacked by one hyena.
Oh, crap.
One.
How did Scar lose?
You know what? That's a great point.
You know, because he mistreated the hyena, because they turned on him.
They turned on him.
That's it.
Also, his song was, like, not that great. It was like, he could have had a better
song. Be Prepared?
Song. Yeah, it's good.
Be Prepared is a banger. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's good. Look. It's good. Jeremy Irons made it as good as he could possibly make it. But it could have been better. If Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote it, it would be so more fun. So you might wonder, by the way, why this person lost their fingers. It wasn't like a snack. Injuries in hyena attacks commonly are the hands and feet.
Because it's what you're trying to protect yourself with.
They're trying to fight off the hyena with their hands and feet, so they just chomped off all the bits. So an intelligent hyena could coordinate with its social group, and a case study says over 27% of hyena attacks are fatal.
Wow.
We've got an intelligent species now that can harness that intelligence because they already know how to communicate with each other. They just don't have the frontal cortex processing that we're about to give them. So now that they have it, they're as smart as we are and already know how to communicate with each other. So they're not going to have that barrier. And then they're going to be able to act on it because hyenas are spread throughout most of the African continent. There are, of the 54 countries, they're in like almost 30 of them, I think. And I think the only thing that would keep them back is it's not just the harnessing and acting, right? They'd have to act as scale. And there's only 47,000 hyenas left. And I think we have the ability to fight off 47,000 hyenas if we all work together. We're pretty good predators as humans. Hyenas also breed really slowly. A 2003 iNaturalist paper wrote that they only have like one offspring every 3.5 years. It's a short gestation, but then they have to stay in a den for almost a year, which I didn't know that about hyenas. They hang out in a den and like feed the little baby milk for like a whole year.
Wow.
Pretty cool. So if it's not hyenas, I started to run up against a couple other ideas. Like I figured hyenas, okay, dogs. What about dogs? If dogs were turned against us, they're in approximately 30% of human homes.
Yeah.
Worldwide. If they understand human intention, they read emotional states, they can develop unique bonding methods with humans, they have thousands of years of coevolution to understand our emotional states. So that would be pretty bad for us. And they can also do what's called social learning. Social learning is an important thing that animals that are very social can do. Not all social animals can do this, but essentially it's like I watched Julian do a puzzle and now I too can try and solve that puzzle. Or I like know the answer to the puzzle. And not all animals can do this, but dogs can. I don't think even lions, they're like trying to figure out if lions can do social learning. They're still not sure. So if they wanted to use their human level intelligence to manipulate us, like you said, like set a trap, cut a brake line.
That's the funniest image in my head of a dog under a car with the knife from the bin.
But see, now you're assuming it's all of a sudden got thumbs. I think
it's got it in its mouth.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's going to limit dogs, because you give dogs the ability to think and have all of these faculties and consciousnesses, they just don't all of a sudden get to use tools. I mean, they can grab it in their mouth, but that's like their worst weapon. Like dog attacks, the teeth are very sharp, even with little teeny dogs. So if they were gonna attack us, but they wanted to use a tool instead, they can't do both at the same time. Also, I think if you gave human level intelligence to dogs, it would basically be like a whole new species of ADHD kids. They would just be like, squirrel, literally like running around. You just throw a ball and the instinct of the dog is going to be run after the ball.
Yeah, that's how we beat them.
Yeah, that's how we beat them. We just get a bunch of tennis balls and boom, boom.
I'm just imagining the other ways too. Not necessarily physical harm, but like, what if your dog committed identity theft? Like,
it learned how to use the computer.
Yeah, like it signed you up for a bunch of like credit cards and ran up a big debt or something.
They're like, "Oh, you're calling about my car warranty? I definitely need to learn more about that."
Maliciously. Like, the long game.
So I started to run into some problems because I was like, okay, look, we could pick a lot of different animals. So I really like this YouTube channel. Maybe you've heard it called Tier Zoo.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
I called Patch, who does Tier Zoo.
No way!
And I asked him what he would pick. And this is what he said.
The sorts of animals that humanity hasn't really invented a bunch of weapons to deal with. A lot of our weapons are good at killing people and hunting other mammals for food. So even if every buffalo in the world became sentient, they could stampede through a few towns and, cause some damage. But eventually we'd get a firing squad and just light them up, unfortunately.
Again, light them up again. They'd actually have beef with humans. If they were suddenly sentient and they were like, wait a minute.
I think if an animal really wanted to go for our throats, I would say something like an insect. It was really strategic, and also, like, not only was it as smart as people, but also had the knowledge that people do. It could deliberately spread disease. If mosquitoes or forward flies or flesh flies or any sort of thing like that, if it deliberately, like, infected itself with some sort of pathogen and then spread that, there's no gun that you can shoot in the air that's going to protect you against the swarm of forward flies or anything like that. Like, the average person would struggle.
So biological warfare.
Yeah.
That's a good proposition.
I liked this one because I'd also thought, okay, 75% of all named and described living animals are insects. And there are so many different insects that can get a disease and pass it to us that doesn't affect them. Mosquitoes, for example, is a big one. So if all of a sudden all of these mosquitoes were like, yep, I know what's going on, and they were like, I don't like humans anymore, I mean, we would be in some trouble. But then he went on to say, and this is some Halloween stuff.
things that are flying are pretty tough for people to deal with. Another thing that's really tough for people to deal with are creatures that can dig. We don't have any ability to attack things that are underground usually without destroying our own infrastructure, which would be devastating as well. There's an invasive species of worm. The hammerhead flatworm is very toxic. It has the same type of toxin that is in some really toxic newts and pufferfish and blue-ringed octopus. And it's really hard to kill. You can't cut it up. You can't squish it. You have to kill it with salt or with chemical weapons. It can burrow, and it's highly, highly, highly toxic. And so if it wanted to burrow up from beneath the dirt and, start getting into our food and all that.
This is a horror film. This is a short horror film.
It's what you asked for, isn't it?
I know. You did. Well, technically, Max asked for it. Thanks,
Sorry, Max. Did you think it was going to be all of humanity versus all of the gorillas? We've got them beat pretty easily. It's the real weird one we're going to have a problem with.
The worms.
Highest biomass of any animal group is worms, I believe. So if they all at once decided to crawl up from the dirt and go crazy with it, they might be able to mess with us pretty good.
Oh my gosh, I think worms is pretty. That one I would never have thought of. Oh god.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess also they could burrow around our infrastructure and sort of undermine it, and that could take us out before we even realize it.
Sinkholes are already scary enough.
Right, and planned sinkhole terrorism.
Horrifying. Well, geez, thanks for giving me some more nightmares to include in this episode. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and I apologize.
We also apologize when we make this show, so I think that's perfect. That works really well for us.
Awesome.
So thanks to Patch from Tierzoo. You can find him youtube.com/Tierzoo.
Great channel.
Great.
Hammerhead flatworm?
Right? I was like, okay, insects. Yes, that would. It wasn't not disparaging his answer. I thought it was really good, but he went to worms, and it was. I got all flush and sweaty just thinking about it. Oh.
I looked up pictures of the hammerhead flatworm just now, and it's, first of all, aptly described. It's like a hammerhead shark and a worm had a baby.
Oh,
I didn't know this existed.
Oh no, not in a cute way.
No, not in a cute way.
Ooh.
I was unaware that this creature was on this earth, and now I am less well off for my knowledge.
Ooh.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah, it's gross.
Oh, it's so yucky.
So what were he said they were toxic?
Yeah, they're toxic.
They give off
like the same as a salamander or a newt. Sometimes you're like, oh, if you touch this newt, you're going to get poisoned.
So if one just slid around in our coffee cup or something in the morning without us realizing it and then snuck off again.
I don't like it.
The worms.
Is it clear that I don't like it?
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good call. So that's a couple of different animals. We got hyenas, but they're going to be mostly trapped on the continent of Africa, and there's not that many of them, even though it will affect 50, like I said, 30 of the 54 countries of the continent. So that's pretty wild. Patch from Tierzoo said worms, and then we also talked about dogs. But I thought we should go outside the box a little bit too. Another horrifying idea might be, what if something in the oceans were to suddenly become human level intelligent, like say an orca, right? Have you been seeing these videos of orcas attacking boats lately?
With great pleasure.
Yeah, they're quite enjoyable. The Iberian orca attacks, if you're looking them up while you're listening to the show. Since 2020, a subpopulation of orcas, specifically about 30 individuals, identified as gladies, which is cute. They're like gladiators, whale fighters. They're bumping and damaging the rudders of boats. They're bumping the boats. They're biting them. They're ramming them. They're nudging the rudder around. They're pivoting the boats, spinning them in circles. At least one has ripped a rudder clean off with their teeth. And there are hundreds of individual attacks. The wiki page says over 500 interactions have been reported.
Wow.
250 boats were damaged. 4 of them have been sunk. Mostly medium, smallish boats, like yachts and catamarans and things. The number of attacks are increasing. And a study in 2022 in Marine Animal Science said that they might be playing. They may not know exactly what they're doing in terms of like, they don't think it's harmful.
It's like a toy boat, but it's a real boat.
They think it's kind of a play thing. And it also could be predation behavior. They might disable the tail of the boat, like the rudder of the boat that's flopping around, because that's what they do with their prey. They'll go disable their prey's tail because that's a way that they propulse through the water. Another suggestion is that it's a fad. And this is the one that I like. I think that's great. That it's just a bunch of like teenish, like young orcas that are like, no, cool, check this out. I'm gonna go into this boat, bro.
Bro, you dare me to rip the rudder off this boat,
I'm gonna go bump this boat, bro. And the reason that they say that is because orcas do have fads that have been reported in the past. In 1987, several orcas off of the coast, I think of the Puget Sound, if I remember correctly, would wear dead salmon on their heads like a hat.
Yep,
and
I remember this one.
It was so funny. It's so funny. Be like, bro, leave my hat, bro. Bro.
Do you think there were hipster orcas? Like...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
They're definitely hipster orcas.
Oh, yeah. You're wearing a salmon hat? I've got some obscure dead fish you've never even heard of.
Oh, my God. That's great. But, of course, then we have a problem. There's only 50,000 orcas in the wild. And what are they going to do? They're going to just they're going to make boat travel for medium to small pleasure craft more unsafe? I don't think that takes down humanity. It knocks down your weekend plans a peg. But, like, overall, I think the human race is probably fine.
I don't know. I'd be worried. Haven't we lost a nuclear weapon or two in the ocean? Like, what if they found it?
If they get one?
They get one.
Yeah. And the nice thing about orcas, too, is similar to dogs and similar to hyenas, they have enough intelligence and communication skills already that if they just suddenly were like, I don't know, quote unquote, awake, they would be able to talk to each other just better than they do now because they already talk to each other. Whereas if, like, I don't know, you snap your fingers and all of a sudden, I don't know, pigeons or something. I mean, pigeons are pretty communicative. I don't know their socials off the top of my head, but, you know, all of a sudden you wouldn't end up with like all the pigeons working together because they may not be able to talk to each other. I don't know if pigeons can do that. I'd have to look it up. But you get my point. So I did come down to what I think. If Tirzu is worms and they think worms, this is the one that I think is actually the answer. Rats.
Yeah.
Rats.
Yeah.
Rats. Picture this. It's the 14th century. You live in a mud pile.
Oh, do I?
You live in a mud pile with 3 sticks.
This is a bingo card bonanza, this one.
And everyone you know has a mysterious disease. All of their bodies are hot. They have swelling pus-filled buboes in their lymph nodes, specifically their armpits and their groin. Those buboes, which are just like swollen lymph nodes, have turned black with necrotic tissue, and they've burst open with pus and bacteria. And they smell, and people are dying by the scores, and there's nothing anyone can do. This is the Black Death.
Yeah, bubonic plague, named for the bubules.
Yeah. 30 to 50% of the population of Europe died. They did think it was the rats. It's not. But, you know, that's a lot of people, like 75 to 200 million people.
It was the fleas on the rats, right?
Exactly. Yes. So this would be like, imagine if COVID had killed 30% of us, or 50%. Like, that's a Thanos snap level event. The bubonic plague. Never really think of it that way, but that's really what it is. Which is horrifying, because it's Halloween. That was a pretty good evil laugh.
That was good evil laugh. Solid.
Yeah, thanks.
10 out of 10, no notes.
Yeah. So, yes, fleas is actually what caused it. But you can't really make the fleas sentient because, again, they don't communicate, they don't scale as easily, but you could make the rats. And the rats know that the fleas, they could maybe learn that the fleas cause it. Because I don't know if you know this, but the fleas, the reason that they did this is it's the Yersinia pestis. And what happens is they get this bacteria, Yersinia pestis, in the fleas, and it causes blockage in their little flea tum-tums, and they bite somebody, but then because they have blockages in their tummies from this bacteria, they vomit the blood that they have in their tummy back into the person that they're biting.
That makes sense.
And so they end up getting that bacteria in the person, and that is what causes the Black Death.
So...
They bite the rat, but the rat don't die. Because not that it's immune, but its lifespan is shorter. There are a variety of reasons.
Yeah, the rat population can afford to take a hit of like 50% and recover in a year,
Right. And so that comes back to harness, act, and scale, right? They can definitely harness this because rats are extremely social. They have social lives already now. They are good social mammals. They can learn socially from each other. They progressively learn as well. So as long as they're still alive and can learn new things, they'll continue to do so, which is how humans have reached the top of the food chain, is not necessarily because we're the strongest or the fastest, so do we have a lot of advantageous adaptations. It's really our collective culture, our ability to teach each other skills. And then you can start where like the previous generation left off. Rats can do that. They can work together. They can communicate with each other through ultrasonic vocalizations, body languages, and pheromones. And if they all of a sudden knew how to control that level of communication, that'd be bad for us. On top of that, rats can definitely act on this. They have many different vectors of attack from the disease, like I mentioned, but also they have little 4-fingered hands. They can grab things. They can bite you. Their teeth never stop growing, so they have to like bite stuff.
Easily cut through the brake line of your car.
Easily, and you wouldn't even know that they were there. They can squeeze their little bodies through a hole that's the size of about a centimeter, smaller than a bottle cap. Can get in anyway.
They can Cape Fear on the bottom of your car.
Yeah. Their skull isn't plated together, so they can even squeeze through things smaller than their own head. They can fall 5 floors without injury.
They're everywhere.
And they're everywhere. Rats are already synanthropes. Remember we talked about this in an earlier episode. Basically, it just means something that lives near humans, like around our society, and they outnumber us in population. So they live with us, like around us in our buildings, on our ships, all over the place, but they also live everywhere. And on top of that, they breed really fast. 2 rats in ideal conditions could grow to 1,250 rats in 1 year.
Wow.
They grow exponentially and have 6 litters per year of 5 to 10 pups per litter. And the pups mature and then can go have new litters within a month. So with sufficient space and food, they will continue to grow in an exponential way, and that could impact us economically, ecologically. They could eat crops and our food. They could attack us. They could affect us ecologically. But, also we learned from the documentary Ratatouille, they could just open some restaurants if they really wanted to. Maybe some of them probably would.
Yeah. And then poison you.
So, rats, knowing that they were infecting...
If you leave them a bad review.
I'm going to rate you poorly on Yelp. Do people use Yelp still? I don't know. So, imagine the rats learn that they were part of the Black Death. Now they have this biological warfare that Patch mentioned as well, like for insects, but they have all of the advantageous benefits of being a pretty good-sized mammal with fingers and with, they can hold stuff and use tools. And, oh, man, you could make a bubonic plague happen in the United States right now. You know why? Because it did. There's 7 cases of bubonic plague every year in the United States. It still exists. Of course, you can fight it with antibiotics.
Yeah.
But we only have so many antibiotics, so if they really wanted to, they could just overwhelm our health system with a coordinated attack.
Yeah, and if it's intentional, right? Like if they understand the process by which the Black Plague spreads, and how it works, that it's bacteria, because they're so ubiquitous, right? It reminds me of the Fight Club scene where they're like, hey, all of these people that are part of your everyday life, are part of this secret underground movement. Yeah. Right? Like, don't mess with us because we're everywhere. To me, that's the true power of the rat.
The power of the rat. And, I think it depends how their society is structured socially, like if they're cool with kamikaze rats, because I don't know if you know this, you probably do because you're very smart, but in the year 1346, the Mongol army besieged the city of Kaffa in Crimea. And by 1349, the Black Death had killed much of the army. And the reason is the Black Death was following the army, spreading through fleas on the rats, although there have been studies since that show it was probably also being spread by lice and fleas that are human-like. lice and fleas, because rat fleas don't really bite humans. They bite rats. And then there are human fleas and human species of lice as well. So somehow that got crossed, and that's what ended up causing all of these problems. So by 1349, the Black Death had killed so much of the army that the Mongol army threw the rotting corpses over the walls of the city of Kaffa.
Yep.
And their pus-filled buboes of bacteria and their rotting tissue burst open and, infected the town. And this is considered the very first example of biological warfare.
Yep.
And that's why I thought Julian's going to know this.
I mean, I didn't know the specifics, but I did know about throwing dead plague bodies into a besieged city.
Yeah, and poisoning the water supply.
Yeah.
So imagine if rats really wanted to, they could just get infected themselves and sacrifice poor little, Remy to the well.
Master Splinter or whatever.
Yeah. Talk about splinters. Yee. So I think, Max, the most dangerous animal to become sentient is an animal that lives around us all the time. Dogs are a really good example, but I think we could probably, that would be a pretty horrifying one if all of a sudden dogs rose up against us. That would be pretty awful. But rats, I think, are even worse because there's so many more of them. They have so much social structure already, and they are just everywhere. So they could fight us on the hills. They could fight us on the landing grounds. They could fight us in the fields.
They could cut our brake lines. I know Winston Churchill didn't say that, but
we will never stop.
Really fixated on my brake lines now. I had this thought, and now I'm really worried.
You have to go downstairs and check.
I'm pathological about checking my brake lines.
That's great. It's another reason to buy an EV because you really don't use your brakes that much.
Oh, yeah. The electrical wires are certainly not vulnerable to rats. That's for
right,
sure.
But then your car's not going to go anywhere, so you're probably fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. So rats could probably devastate us. Worms, dogs. It would be bad. There's a bunch.
There's probably hydraulics in your EV anyway. Sorry, continue. I'm still hung up on that. I imagine it's a hydraulic braking system.
Amazing. Incredible.
Well, great question. Thank you, Trace. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate. The show is created, written, and produced by Trace Boominguez.
Oh, that's funny. How Simpsonian of you. And it was also produced by Julian. You get out of here!
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to do Boo-Get. It's the only one.
No, I wanted to do something different.
I know, I kind of painted you into a corner with Boominguez. Edited and produced by Handsome Igor Kyle Sisk.
Handsome Igor. So good. The show was associate produced by Sabrina Knife Skills Capello.
Sabrina Brake Line Saboteur Capello.
And our music was thanks to Epidemic Sound, and our intern is Charlie
Boodberry.
You have one joke.
I have one thing.
Thank you to the listeners who have submitted questions to be featured in this episode. That would be Kelly and Max. If you want to submit a question, just go down into the show notes. You can email us at hello@that'sabsurdshow.com. You can visit our website, that'sabsurdshow.com/ask. You can call us on the phone and leave us a spooky voicemail at 302-TAPESHO.
Thanks to our patrons over on Patreon, we were able, because of their continued contributions, to be able to do the Bay Area Science Festival just last weekend. So that's our second live show now, both of them enabled by our patrons. We really thank them for that. So if you want us to, come do a live show somewhere like your college or something like that, you can email us and ask. We have our absurd administrators, Adam, Les, Austin, Jonathan, Dan, Sabrina, The Brain, Hannah, Pinky, and Apothecarian, a new absurd administrator. We also have another new clever colleague who just joined, and his name is
Benzaldehyde toximonoethaxaprophene. I thought that's pretty good. That's close.
Pretty good, actually.
I thought that was pretty good. I'm really good at reading the teleprompter. And also thank you to our newest Patreon subscribers, Arn and Therese and Terry.
Much easier to say.
Thank you all for joining. It was so awesome that we're getting new patrons all the time. If you want to join, just go in the show notes. You can support us, vote on questions, play bingo.
Yep.
It's really a fun time over there.
We got to shout out the people who got bingo. There's 2 of them, Daniel and Tessa. Now, looking at these cards, I feel like he might be listening to the episodes out of order, Daniel, because some of those, I don't think some of those bingo squares happened in the last one, but what am I, the bingo police? I'm not gonna...
Yeah. Come on, don't be nobody wants a bingo narc.
We're on the honor system here, so congrats on your bingos to Daniel and Tessa, and I'm gonna reset your cards.
If you haven't left us a review or followed the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please do that. Follow the show. Give us some stars. Tell us that you like the show and tell your friends that you like the show. We have hundreds of reviews on Spotify, which mind-blowing. I looked at it today because I was like, wow, this podcast that I was looking at has like hundreds of reviews. I wonder how many we have. We had almost the same number, and they have a major brand behind them. And I was like, wow. We're cool.
We have a really good audience.
I love you all. So thank you.
Thank
you for reviewing. Thank you for being a part of the show. And special thanks to those also listening on Nebula. We get a little bit of support every time you listen to the show, so we thank you very much. If you want to join Nebula and listen to the show, you can, just by listening to it, give us just a little bit of money to help support making this show. If you want to join, visit go.nebula.tv/that'sabsurd show. You'll get a discount on an annual membership. Okay, so remember, as we say at the end of every episode of the show, Kyle, lightning! I wish we had lightning in every episode now. That's great. And also, I'm going to go see Drunk Monkey Hypothesis this weekend. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're like super chaotic.
Oh man, I wanted to see them, but the bubonic plague's been going around lately, and
I've been wanting to see them.
No, the actual...
I hear that they slap.
No, the actual bubonic plague, like the deadly bacterial infection from the 14th century.
14th century deadly bacteria is also a good band name. Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you next week with another episode. Happy Halloween!